Good evening. I am Vibhu Swami from Power Tech Consultant. Today we'll start our next session, webinar number 3. Now, in this webinar 3, we'll study about the remaining portion of chapter 1 of book 1, and it by with this we'll close chapter 1, and we'll go to the assignment sections of chapter 1. Now, in these sessions, we'll discuss what we all mean by energy pricing. Now, energy pricing means at which the energy is priced. Means what is the tariff? Tariff is nothing but a rate of energy. So, what is the coal price? How coal tariff is calculated? What is the oil rate? What is the natural gas rate? And who decide? Now, if you see energy, particularly in India, the price does not reflect the true cost to the societies. That means lot of government gives subsidy. Let us take an example of gas. Gas prices earlier, it was very subsidized. Even we produce the gas at a higher rate, we don't sell at that rate. Government subsidized it. That means government gives some money so that the common man will get some subsidy and we buy at a lesser cost. The present government has changed that, and now still DBT, direct benefit transfer, is happening, and still the gas is subsidized for few section of the society. Now, if you see basic assumptions of efficiency is that energy prices are undervalued and energy wastage are not taken seriously. Therefore, the pricing practice in India are influenced by political, social, and economic conditions at both the state and central level. That means even for energy, electricity, let us say, consider electricity, it is a concurrent subject. That means the state and center both decide the tariff. Central government or Ministry of Power decide the tariff policy. Then the state government or state electricity regulatory commissions decide the tariff for electricity in that particular state. But at that time, the political, the government, the socio-economic condition of the people, the farmer subsidy, so lot of subsidy comes into pictures, and lot of economic status of the people comes into pictures. Like Kutir Jyoti, which one of the tariff after they'll get at lesser price. Agriculture pump, they get at electricity at a lesser price, whereas commercial energy is at a higher price. So it is being decided by political, social, and economic compulsions are there when energy prices, that means the prices of coal, oil, and natural gas or electricity is being decided. Now let us come to coal. Run of mine. Run of mine means what? ROM. That means at pit head. Suppose coal is mined at a colliery, which is basically a mines, then that is known as run of mines. And grade wise, suppose there are a lot of grades of coals are available. F grade, you get F grade coal. So F grade coal has a lower price because the gross calorific value is low, ash content is high. So depending upon the quality of coal, whether the gross calorific value or ash content or sulfur content, the prices of coal will be varying. And it is the basic price at run of mines. After that, government put statutory duties, taxes on that. Even green cess is also applied to coal. Now, coal rate are being fixed by Coal India Limited, and it has number of subsidiary like Mahanadi Coal Limited is one of the subsidiary, and the pithead coal price of coal in India compares favorably with price of imported coal. That means if you are going to pithead, the price of coal is cheaper as compared to the imported coal. But if the prices of coal, pithead coal in India is low as compared to the imported coal, then why the industries import coal? Because Imported coal has higher GCV, higher calorific value, higher gross calorific value, or low waste content. Particularly Indian industries, Indian power generating company, Indian DRI sponge iron plant, or iron and steel plant import coal from South Africa and Indonesia. Now come to oil. Oil, government, the present government, the past government has very much tried to bring the prices of oil and petroleum products like naphtha, furnace oil, low sulfur, LHSs, LDO, light diesel oil, bitumen in line with international prices. Now, if you have seen earlier, diesel prices were cheaper; it was being subsidized, but government has decontrolled the prices of diesel and petrol. Means now the oil company like HPCL, IOCL, UPCL, they can decide the price on fortnightly basis. Government has decontrolled the prices. Earlier, diesel was cheaper because it was helping transportations, but lot of subsidy government has to bear for that, which is for which government is suffering monetary losses. Therefore, government decided no, let the price decontrol, let diesel be at par with its market price. So, government has tried to reduce the subsidy and link the diesel price to international price. Now come to the natural gas. Here, an authority known as GAIL, Gas Authority of India Limited, and who decide the prices, the government decide the prices, the natural gas. Now, it also take a decisions on allocation of gas. That means gas can be utilized, as we discussed in the webinar 1 and webinar 2, that gas has various use. It is used as feedstock for fertilizer plant. It used as a primary fuel for generation of power. It is also used as for medicine, for different type of heating technologies, for domestic uh, in your kitchen you use gas. So there is a lot of, that means fertilizer means the farmers are involved. So that's why, because so many holders are involved in allocation of for utilization of gas. Therefore, government took a decision that he will control the gas pricing as well as allocation of gas. Now, gas prices, you remember, it is varying between 5 to rupees 5 to rupees 15 per cubic meter, and GAIL decide the prices, and there is additional transportation prices are also. Now come to electricity tariff. Have you seen your bill? Now, if you have not seen your electricity bill of your industries or of your house, you do one thing. You get one copy and go through it. You will find there is a different type of terminology in your electricity bill, which is really required to be learned by a future energy auditor or energy aspirants. Now, if you see industry, they are charged on the basis of demand. That means, suppose for industries, I have to meet a demand. I have to say that, yes, distribution company, my demand is 1 MVA or 1 megawatt. That means I am booking that whenever I require 1 megawatt, to give me, and I am ready to pay demand charges for that. But I have fixed a demand. Suppose I don't use any energy, then I have to pay 0 energy charges. But I will be keeping, I will have to pay fixed demand charges. Therefore, for industrial consumer, there are two components. One is demand charges, always just energy charges. But for small consumer like LT consumer, like a domestic consumer, it only pays for energy consumed. Along with energy consumed, it also pays some amount of minimum monthly fixed cost. That means a fixed component, maybe 50 rupees or 100 rupees is required to be paid. But demand charge and fixed cost both are different, as far as, because demand is charged on the basis of per megawatt or per kVA, and Fixed charge is also calculated on the basis of connected load, but demand charges is much higher as compared to the connected load charges of LT consumers. Apart from that, if you see, demand charges will be around 250 rupees kVA or 300 rupees per kVA. In Odisha, it is 250 rupees per kVA. And whereas energy charge is rupees 5.30 per unit. Whereas for a normal household like me or my office, the connected load is around 3 kilowatt, means it is will be around 60 rupees MMFC cost, and energy charge will be around 6 to 7 rupees per kWh. Apart from electricity, there are few components for which also distribution company charge you. One is time of uses. That means if you consume energy during night time, you have to pay less. That is known as TOD benefit. Time of day tariff, or tariff, that means TOD, time of day tariff. That means in the off peak, because where no energy users are present in the system. Therefore, if you buy at the time, the energy price will be cheaper. Similarly, based on LT voltage, ST voltage, or EST voltage, that means 132 kV, 222 kV, these are on a EST voltage or ESV voltage, extra high tension voltage. 11 kV, 33 kV are ST voltage, and 400 volt, 230 volt are LT voltage, or low tension voltage or low voltage. That means based on voltage level supply also tariff is being decided. Apart from that, few distribution company charges you fuel surcharge, electricity duties, and taxes. So this is how the electricity is being charged for running industrial consumer, for a LT consumer. And who decides the tariff? The tariff is being decided by state electricity regulatory commissions. In West Bengal, it is West Bengal Electricity Regulatory Commission. So different states have electricity regulatory commissions, and some state has also joint electricity regulatory commissions. Now, but while deciding the tariff, the regulatory commissions take into account about the tariff policy of the central government, also take various provision of the Electricity Act 2003, particularly section 62. Now, if you see, compare electricity tariff vis-a-vis of India vis-a-vis with other country, you find for industries and commercial, our tariff is a little bit higher. Now, here you have to apply purchasing power parity. That means we have studied PPP. That means in electricity in Odisha or in India, it is 5 rupees per kWh. That means if I multiply into 70 rupees for America or United States of America, then it will be almost 350 rupees per kWh. But here it is not the foreign exchange variation. Then I have to compare what is America, USA tariff. Then I have to apply purchasing power parity. That means PPP. That means foreign exchange variation I have to apply. So if I apply both PPP and compare the power tariff of India vis-a-vis other country, I'll find that India is 30.8 cents per kWh, US is 7 cents per kWh, Japan is 15.3 cents per kWh, China is 2.6 kWh. That means our tariff is little bit higher as far as industries and commercial establishment are concerned. Why? Because we provide lot of subsidy. The industries provide lot of subsidy to LT consumers, and LT, there are a lot of losses are there. That means transmission distribution losses are there. In some of the discounts it is almost 30 to 35%, but in Delhi discount, in Mumbai discount, it will be almost 10 to 15%. That means there is a huge scope of T&D loss reduction. That means energy conservation and energy efficiency in the distribution business. And therefore, this energy conservation, energy audit, energy manager course are very important. Now let us understand what is ABT. This is an important point. You have to remember it. You have to write a notes, because normally in the examination this comes availability based tariff. What do you mean by that? That means if I am available, nobody is taking my energy, then I can give you at a lower price, not at higher price, at a lower price. But if I am not available, somebody has already booked it, then my prices will be higher. I can give certain energy to give me higher price. That means, in case of a power generating company, you all know energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed, it can be only conserved. That means if a generating company keeps on generating 100 megawatt, if the load is not 100 megawatt, load is suppose say 90 megawatt, what will happen? 100 megawatt is generating, 90 megawatt is the consumption. That means 10 megawatt surplus is there. So in order to generate, but power balance, in order to achieve the power balance, what will happen? The voltage will rise because generation is more, load is low. Therefore, because rise in voltage will give to rise in frequency because the generator will overspeed. So frequency rise will be there, voltage rise will be there. That means the grid will not be stable. Or with the power plant personnel or industry operator, reduce the steam flow or energy input to the turbine and generators, with the generator slowed down. But at that time, if somebody is available, if frequency is high, if that means at that time we have to promote drawal, more drawal. That means I have to bring additional 10 megawatts so that generation and demand should match each other. This is known as availability based tariff. At that time, this tariff, I will tell the consumer, if you frequency is high, if you consume more, you will get incentive. But if the frequency is low and you consume more, that means what will happen? 110 megawatt is the load in the evening time, but generation is only 100 megawatt. So frequency is already down. Now, if you put more load, what will happen? The generation will collapse. Due to which a penalty is being imposed. That means in the frequency, when the frequency is low, you cannot consume more. You have to reduce your trial. So there is a whenever there is a mismatch of generation and load, the regulator has thought, let us bring a component of frequency which will drive the price. So based on frequency, a price has been fixed, which is known as availability based tariff. So if the frequency is low, if you consume more, you will be penalized. If the frequency is high, you consume more, it will be beneficial for the system. That's why it will be incentivized. Now, therefore, ABT is known as performance based tariff, and it was introduced in 2003. But if you see in books, it has not been changed. But CRC has changed the ABT system into deviation settlement mechanism regulations. Now the ABT regulation is no more there. Now demand side deviation settlement mechanism regulation is in place. But since in your book it is already mentioned, let us study about ABT because that is the backbone based on which, that is the fundamental based which the deviation settlement mechanism regulation has been framed. Now if you see ABT compliant meter, that means that meter can find out what is the frequency vis-a-vis time bomb. Secure manufacture the ABT compliant meter. So ABT means availability based tariff, and it is a 15-minute block-wise tariff. Right now, the government is also thinking for 5-minute block-wise tariff. Any electrical engineer will be able to understand. But if you just Google it, ABT, you can know how it is behaving. Now, it is a new system of scheduling dispatch. That means you have to give, generator has to give, and beneficiary has to give a day-ahead schedule. That means, suppose tomorrow, how much is your load and how much I'm going to generate. You have to give an advance intimations. To whom? To SLDC, State Load Dispatch Center, or to RLDC, Regional Load Dispatch Center. That means I have already committed my generation, and as a load or as an industrial consumer, you have already committed your trial. Now, if we mismatch, then automatically we will mismatch. If the frequency is high, then I'll be getting some incentive. If I'm a generator, and if I'm a industry, frequency is high, then I'll be making some incentive. If the frequency is low, but as a industries I am drawing, then I have to pay penalty. That means once a day-ahead schedule has been given, I cannot deviate anymore. This is known as scheduling. Dispatch means based on your schedule, the energy will be dispatched to your respective boundary from generating point to the industries. So it is what it is a reward as well as penalty schemes, where variation are permitted if notified 1.5 year hours. That means once you are committed, one day advance both generator is committed and the load or industry is committed. But there may be chances the generator may break down, the industry may break down. So what will happen? Because already I have committed for energy. Whether it means I have to take that much of energy? No, you can deviate by giving 1.5 hour. That means 60 plus 30, 90-minute advance intimations I can give it to SLDC, and I can rectify or modify my scheduling or dispatch. My day ahead schedules, whatever I have committed earlier, I can modify it. This order, this ABT regulations emphasizes prompt payment of dues. It is normally 7 days cycle. Whenever there is a software is there, SLDC, RLDC, and once you put your schedule, they will enter it automatically. Based on frequency, it will finalize everything, and through a system, computer-driven system, their energy accounting settlement will come down and come out, by which the generator has to pay or the industry has to pay, or generator has to be given incentive or the industry has to give an incentive. If you don't pay the charges, you will be liable for appropriate action by SLDC or RLDC. Next item is energy security. As the term decides, energy security means the basic aim of energy security for a nation is to reduce its dependency on imported energy sources. If you import more energy, then that means you have to pay more. That means our economic growth will hamper. So we have to securitize our energy. That means we have to reduce our import. Now, as I told, why the industry is import? When coal is available, industry import because Indian coal are basically poor quality of coal. And normally, recently, e-auction has been initiated by Coal India Limited, by Mahanadi Coal Limited, by Coal Authority. E-auction of coal has been initiated because based on the demand industry, there will be auction of coals. You auction it, whoever is bidding higher price, you will get that. Due to which industries are preferring to import. As I told, South Asia, South Africa, and Indonesia particularly, we import coal. These are of higher BCV values, and sometimes we get at a cheaper price. Similarly, our present level of import of coal is around 25% of total consumption of coal. That means whatever I am consuming, around 25% of the coal I am importing. This is okay. But if you see oil, I am almost importing 90% of the total consumption of oil. That means whatever I am consuming, I am importing 90%, which is really alarming. Now, also my oil demand keeps on rising 5% per year. That means one is my oil demand is rising, and again I am importing almost 90%. Why I am unable to raise my oil productions? Because whatever well I have in Rajasthan I have some well, in Assam I have some well. They are almost 30 years old well. So the gas reserve has gone down. The country is trying to find out new oil reserves, but is not yet so far successful. Therefore, the import, it is found that import of gas, LNG are likely to increase. And energy import means if you import energy, you have to pay price. That means you are vulnerable to external price shock, and which will threaten your energy security of the country. That means if the prices are if you see crude oil, America and Iraq war, the crude oil jumps, and the whole country, India, suffered. Our market is down because it threatens our energy security. You have to pay more for the same amount of energy. So as a country, you have to securitize our energy. Energy security is very important. This is normally a 10 marks question. What is energy security and what are the way forward? Yes, we understand it is a dangerous situation. What then? How to meet the energy security? What are the challenges? How we can address the challenges? That means first point, you have to reduce your energy requirement by just reduce your energy requirement, will be energy secure, or build enough stockpiles. When build enough stockpiles when the crude oil price is low, when coal price is low, when gas price is low. Then during COVID-19, the crude oil prices has gone down like anything. So you have to build up some stockpile during those periods. Now, diversification of energy supply source. You diversify. Don't depend upon oil, coal, gas alone. Look for other alternatives. Increase capacity of fuel switching. That means you switch from non-renewable or fossil fuel to renewable energy, which the country is doing. You demand, restrain your demand. You reduce your demand. Install a lot of renewable energy like solar and wind-based power plant. Become energy efficient and go for sustainable development. Go for sustainable transportation. That means e-mobility. So what are the points? These are the points to be remembered. It is a long question, 10 mark questions, but it is a sure short questions. So what is this? Reducing energy requirement. Way forward means how we can meet energy security for our country. Reducing energy requirement, improving the efficiency of extraction of fossil fuel, improving fuel efficiency of new coal-fired power plant with new technology. Now, if you know, supercritical technology has come up. Earlier, old technology, subcritical technology was there, in which for same amount of fuel, you are getting lesser energy. Now, you can go for 600 megawatts, 660 megawatt thermal power plant, but earlier it was 250 megawatt, 210 megawatt maximum in our means older times. So, with invention of technology, let us go for higher size power plant, which are more fuel efficient, where the heat rates are little bit lower. Then adoption of energy efficiency, demand side management. That means you manage your demand. Demand, how to manage my demand? I am supposed to take electricity. How I can manage my demand? Yes. Non-critical load, you take it during the night time, like pumping of waters. It can be done in the morning where the demand is low, or running non-essential load can be avoided, can be in the peak time. You have to run it in the day, the non-peak time. Promotion of public transport, mass transport. That means your carpooling, railways, metros, bus system, good transportation of city transportation systems, particularly Bangalore, Delhi. You require very good transportation system. Generally, people will avoid their own car, own bike, and people will be dependent on public transport, which will reduce our oil requirement, so that we can reduce our oil import. Renewable development of renewable energy sources, as I told, same public sources. Then substituting imported oil and gas with domestic alternatives. That means this is known as fuel switching. If I am using certain fuel, I will not use that. I will go for some other fuel which are locally available. Which fuel are locally available? You know, ethanol. Government has come up with a policy. You can manufacture ethanol. Ethanol means ethyl alcohol. Basically, it is an ethyl alcohol. You can manufacture it from sugar industries. Biodiesel you can manufacture from jatropha-based biodiesel. That means you grow jatropha plantation, crush it, get a oil, and purify it. You will get biodiesel. Or your refined oil, vegetable oil, you can manufacture, produce, and use it as a substitute for diesel, so that your farmer will get some money and you don't depend upon import of diesel, import of oil, and country economy will be good. Biomass gasification for heat and power, alternative to gas and coal. That means gasification technology, small gasification technology is available. You burn it, you will get CO gas. Through the CO gas, you can make some power generations. You can run some generating small generating unit, and your dependence on gas and coal will reduce. Coal to oil technologies, it is a new technology. That means you have coal, but you don't have oil. So what will happen? You try to convert coal to oil, because you cannot use your coal in the bus and truck, but oil can be used. So coal to oil technology you have to promote for public transport and mass transport. Diversifying energy supply source, fuel mix comprise coal, gas, nuclear, hydro, and renewable. Sourcing oil, LNG from different countries. Don't depend on one country, because because of their monopolist attitude, the prices will be high. To look for those countries where the prices are cheaper, particularly oil and LNG. And importing gas through gas pipeline. So you also gas pipeline can be established, which will also give you some scope for getting energy from alternative sources. That means your Iran to India gas pipeline is, the basic purpose is reduce your dependency from some other country, go to a friendly country where the prices will be little bit cheaper. Now coming to expanding alternative energy sources, as I told, improved oil recovery, enhanced oil recovery from exploration of reserves, recovery of oil, gas from abundant fields. Now our technology might not be good, because in the mines, if you don't recover the oil fully or gas fully, there will be some gas or oil will be left. So you have to have good technology so that you can really dig out or really exploit all the gas and oil from the field. Then C2 coal gasification, means coal to gas is another technology. JSPL has introduced in Odisha coal to gas technologies, and similarly capturing coal bed methane. When you mine coal, from the coal seam you get some gas that is known as coal bed methane, CBM. So you have to capture that coal bed methane so that you can really capture some good energy out of that. Similarly, it is conversion of coal to oil. It is not coal, it is coal to oil, conversion of gas to liquid. That means why liquid? Why not coal to gas? No, because liquid can be easily transported. Now coal is available in mines, so if I able to convert it to oil, then I can easily transport it and I can utilize in my bus, in my truck, in my transportation system, because I am dependent on more on oil. So I need some oil substitute, but I have some coal. Then feasibility survey for new explorations. That means since my oil field are almost 30 years old, I have to look for new oil field, new gas field. Equity of oil, gas, coal from other countries. That means, what do you mean by equity? Equity means the Indian companies should take ownership in the coal mines or the oil depot, oil well or the gas well of different or some third party country or different country, so that they can own it, put some equity and own it, so the prices will be fixed. When you own something, when it becomes a captive unit of yours, now the sale transaction will not happen. So you can decide your price and get energy for meeting your industrial requirement. Like Jindal Group has made lot of investment in Indonesia for mining of Indonesian coal, which are of good quality and low ash. Now, new domestic sources. So nuclear is an option, but where you can really be energy independent, your energy security will be very high, but it has its own challenges as far as safety is concerned, as far as the fuel availability of uranium, thorium is concerned. Setting up energy intensive units abroad. That means you don't put up steel plant here, you put up somewhere else, maybe in Africa, like the Europe has done, like the United States of America has done. They told us to put up the plant in India and they do the value addition. But that is not a good thinking if you think in terms of society point of view. Promoting community biogas plant. Now, if you can meet your local energy requirement from the local itself, it will be very good thing. So promoting community biogas plant, That means you utilize your kitchen agro waste, you can utilize your cow dung, convert it to gas and use it in your kitchen. So don't depend on liquefied LPG gas, which we have to import from other part of the country. Another is energy plantation. That means you plan for Bima bamboo, you plan for massive plantation, cut it, then use it as a fuel, make a biomass power plant, and generate energy. Don't depend on coal. Wood or particularly energy plantation are very good, higher gross calorific value, and ash content is also very low. So these are the way we can basically meet energy security for our country, and these are important things for an energy auditor. As far as exam is concerned, you have to remember all these points. Coming to energy conservation and importance, as I told, that means because these are energy intensive industries, so we need to conserve energy. That is another way of meeting energy security. If I can conserve energy, then I'll be secured. My energy security will be there. So what is energy conservation? There are two differences. One question normally comes: the difference between energy conservation and energy efficiency. What do you mean by that? Energy conservation is achieved when both of energy consumption is reduced in physical terms. That means your growth of energy consumption will be reduced. This is a result of several process or development such as productivity increases, technological progresses. Energy conservation involves using less energy by adjusting user behaviors and habits. That means energy conservation is related to user behaviors. Based on user behaviors, based on physical several processes development, you can reduce your energy consumption. That is known as energy conservation. Means when you are not working, you turn off the lights, you use daylights during the daytime, you go for carpooling, you go for renewable energy, and don't run a motor unnecessarily. Stop idle running of motors. That means these are behavioral change, which will give you energy conservations without much investment. But what is energy efficiency? Energy efficiency is achieved when energy intensity in a specific product process or area production of consumption is reduced without affecting outputs. That means in a specific product, suppose you want to motor to be energy efficient. What you do? You put up some variable frequency drive. Now, without changing the output, suppose you want light, but you don't want light performance to be affected. You can reduce incandescent bulb or CFL bulb with LED. That is basically known as energy efficiency. But what is energy conservation? You switch off the light, you go for daylight, but where the output may differ. So energy efficiency, in other hand, use of technology, but here adjusting user behavior and habits. Two are different, but energy efficiency is a part of energy conservation. Both are separate subjects but related subjects. So use of LED, use of VFD, use of I3 motors are basically energy efficiency measures. Energy efficiency are basically a little bit costlier measures. It attacks a simple process or a target equipment or target area, but energy conservation has a larger area. So normally you get difference of energy conservation and energy efficiency. One question in examinations. Now this is an example of energy efficiency. What are its advantages? Energy efficiency benefits. This is incandescent lamp, 60 watt. Now you are going for 8 watt or 9 watt LED lamp. It has light output is 800 lumens, but LED is also 800 lumens. Lifespan is 1200 hours. Lifespan is 25,000 hours. CO2 emission in this case is 48 gram per hour, but here CO2 emission has reduced. That means it is 6.4 gram per hour, which shows that this is by with same 800 lumen, you are going for good product. This is the energy efficiency measure. Due to which, what is happening? You are reducing your energy consumption or reducing dependence on electricity, due to which the coal consumption is less at the and due to which carbon dioxide emission is also reduced. So carbon dioxide emission has reduced from 48.4 gram per hour to 6.4 gram per hour. इसको थोड़ा you just have to remember it so that in examination sometimes it comes. So what are the benefit of energy efficiency? Reduce energy bills, increase competitiveness. That means your bill has gone down, your productivity has improved, your quality has improved. Once productivity has improved, your raw material cost has gone down, energy cost has gone down. What will get? You get profit. That's why once the company go for profit, so he will pay you to whom? The energy auditors, energy manager, who will make him happy, who will reduce his cost at a lower level, who will increase its profitability. So, industry perspective, there is this role, this energy auditor course is important because it leads to profitability. Then what is the benefit for the nations? You reduce your energy imports because you are more, your security of energy security is little bit very good, and you avoid cost, and you can avoid cost for purchasing oil and gas. This can be used for good social measure, for poverty reductions. Now you are conserving your limited resource, your basically the fossil fuel, these are limited resource. You are increasing the RP ratio, reserve R by P ratio. You are increasing reward for more number of years. So these are the benefit for the nations. That means for country perspective, it is also a good thing. Now, what is the benefit of globe? Now, because you are not depending upon coal, oil, gas, so you are reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Because if you are bringing energy efficiency, your generation is, you are consuming less energy, due to which less carbon dioxide is emitted. Greenhouse gas emission is reduced, and it helps for environment, and it helps environmental protections. It does not pollute much, and the world becomes, the globe becomes a sustainable environment. So because of energy efficiency, because you are studying energy audit course, because you are managing energy management, you are very aspirant to become an energy manager or an energy auditor. What are the benefit? You will be helping your industries, you will be helping your nation, you will be helping your heart. So this is, with this I conclude the chapter 1. It is a very good subject, but you have to read it a lot, remember a lot, and you have to take into heart. Sometimes you may not get, the numbers may get updated, but you have to understand how it is happening. You Google the terms, it is very easy to understand, whether it is for mechanical, for electrical, for any engineers, it will be very good learning. Chapter 1. With this we conclude. Now we'll go for assignment, and we'll be circulating the assignment in the particularly in the group. And then you have to write notes, you have to write question answer, and do the assignment. Thank you. Good night.